Hey guys, it's Caroline. I'm here with our friend
And
Brandon.
just listen and educate yourself and don't be afraid to stand up. Because a quote from Dr. King, he said, the biggest hurdle for Negroes isn't necessarily the Ku, the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate who wants to hold on to law and order and say wait, you know, to stay in your accountability isn't isn't helpful because people in uncomfortable situations all the time, and just because you're not comfortable doesn't no doesn't obviously doesn't give you a reason to not act on change. So just introspection, education, and taking effective action. Even just like the smallest things, like holding your friends accountable, holding family members accountable. I know that's a very uncomfortable part about like this whole situation, because I've had friends say, yeah, I have a racist family member, and they tell me the story, and from my perspective, they tell the story about the racism, but they don't tell the part of them saying, hey, that's wrong. So it may be uncomfortable. You may lose friends. You may have to have estranged family members. Verse in the Bible where Jesus says, I have not come to bring peace, but a sword and to divide son from father, mother from daughter, slave from master. And what he means is not just, obviously not just, hey, I want to cause chaos among people for no reason, but I have to cut through, this thing, and you're either on the side of righteousness or the side of immorality. So that's just one of the smallest things you can do. Hold other people accountable. Also take a point of self-reflection and hold yourself accountable. That goes back to what I was saying earlier, like we're socialized in a certain way, and because of certain things that have happened, you grow up in neighborhoods that are most likely going to, be racially homogenous. Um, but as far as trying to get people to reach across the aisle, I'd say the biggest thing is just to keep a level of respect, because a lot of people I interact with are black, but at the same time, like I said, I would never just intentionally go out and disrespect another culture. So just keep that level of respect, because it may not be something that people are doing to be hateful.
Right.
You wouldn't go help your neighbor pay their bills and be behind on your water bill and let your water get cut off. But if you paid all your bills, you had a little extra money, you heard, that, hey, the neighbor two houses down or across the hall in the apartments, they're going through something, and you had the means to help them, and you helped them. You gotta take care of your business first, get your affairs in order, and then help people. So as far as reaching across the aisle, just always try, but just always be respectful, because it's like ever since like this modern I want to say modern movement of civil rights happened, there was the slogan Black Lives Matter, and people countered it with All Lives Matter. And people want to say, well, why aren't you worried about everybody else? Like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of hard for me to worry about everybody else, because the people most likely to be killed look like me first racially, and then just I have a special gendered experience with that too. My heart goes out to any victim of police brutality, but again, I gotta first focus on who's is affecting most, and then once we have an understanding on that, we can go out and help everyone. When people say go out and vote, I would just say just a general thing, because a lot of people think voting will change this. Um, A lot of people want to, and rightly so, demonize Donald Trump and say, oh, well, once we get Trump out of office, things will change. But when I'm looking at it from my perspective, the same things happened when we had a black president, a black attorney general, and they really, and it's something, it's an uncomfortable point people don't like to bring up, but they really kind of dropped the ball in several areas. Like people were saying, oh, why would Donald Trump call the protesters thugs and not understand their pain? Barack Obama did the same thing. It was in Baltimore with the murder of Freddie Gray. He called the protesters thugs for acting in the same way. So that's, just vet the candidates and like hold candidates accountable. If y'all saw it, but Joe Biden was being interviewed by us virtually for this radio show called The Breakfast Club, and he said, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're gonna vote for Donald Trump or me, then you ain't black. And it was because the interviewer, Charlamagne the God, was saying the same thing I'm saying. Do you have an actual black agenda, actual things? Are you gonna take my concerns and my community's concerns serious? And he said that, he said that remark because he's like, well, black people historically vote Democrat, and you have a man, from the other party who's not politically trained, so he's uncouth. So a lot of insensitive and bigoted things he says are more obvious because he really doesn't care. So it's like, oh, this is going to be an easy election. I have a guy, who's an unfit, so people should just vote for me. But are you actually going to take the concerns of voters serious? So just, research candidates, presidential candidates, because a lot of people don't like to hear this, but you can. I know we were talking to youth, but if there's any youth that's going to be 18 and are able to vote by November, remember you can vote independently. You can write in candidates, research candidates, because that'll effectively show, like, if your voting numbers come down, think about, like, well, what's going on? And then we can keep the pressure and ask and hold them accountable for change. And also, if the same thing applies for voting locally, voting for senators and all that, hold them accountable. And if I just want to say, you don't have to vote for people just because it's quote unquote the right thing to do. You want to vote for the right candidate